So overall, I really liked Mark Austin's writings on the Terminator scenario because, yeah, I think when you watch the Terminator, it's easy to think, wow, what if this happened in real life? And when you talk about militarized robotics, things get pretty scary. Personally, I am more afraid of militarized robotics with police forces because they're not quite as trained as well as military personnel is to use equipment like this. John Mayer made a statement about last year, maybe a year or two ago, when sorry, I have it right here. When police brutality, when police brutality was hitting the scene, he made a statement saying that police officers are undertrained because they're not trained as carefully as the Army is to use even a basic function as a pistol or a rifle. And that's why we're seeing so many police brutality cases, is because they're simply not trained as well as military personnel. So on that note, I want to transition back to where I started and back to the primary focus point of the discussion and say that I don't think that militarized robotics are something that we should be necessarily afraid of, because I think the only way that robotics could take over the world is if they unify. And I think in order for militarized robotics to unify, they'd have to be designed by humans to do so. And this sounds kind of crazy, but in turn, the designer of these robots that could then unify and take over the world would then be a victim of the world ending and robots taking over. Now, I know that is very highly possible that this would happen, and some crazy smart engineer could create something to where that would happen, but I just feel like robotic engineering, especially with militarized robotic engineering, there's a lot more put into it than just one crazy person making a single robot with the ability to unify. I think it would have to be a team of smart humans, engineers, making these robots strong enough to unify. And yeah, I do understand that there could be a robot, a militarized robot, that could single-handedly take over the world, but so could nuclear weapons. And I think that the fear for robots taking over isn't even quite as strong as the world ending due to nuclear weapons. Because with nuclear weapons, realistically, all you need is one crazy leader to get a nuclear weapon and blow up a certain area, and that would spark a World War III, and it would be a nuclear warfare, and that would end humanity. So to be necessarily paranoid and afraid of militarized robots taking over the world, I don't think it's that valid of a fear. I mean, every fear is valid, but my point is I don't think it's something that we should be necessarily afraid of, because humans are already capable of taking over the world with nuclear weapons, and luckily, fingers crossed, we haven't really seen it in recent lifetimes. But history does repeat itself, and maybe it will be done with robotics. But I truly believe that nuclear weapons are way more powerful and realistic way to end the world.